school recently went back in session for a lot of people, and my sister is one of those people. So she's been leaving for school every day and coming back home with homework that she's doing and all that fun stuff. And she's taking a bunch of classes that I took when I was in school, like Latin and European history. So it's fun to go through her homework with her and maybe, help her out where I can. Kind of, I guess, like going through class vicariously through her. But of course, then I'm reminded of how much I absolutely hated school when I was in it. I think I was the absolute most unhappy that I have ever been in my entire life when I was in school. Mostly high school, but I never really liked school at all in general. But high school, that was when I, naturally was kind of formulating my own individual character and person. I was starting to think for myself about, broader things than what most kids think of. I guess that was when I got interested in politics and philosophy and all that shit. So kind of makes sense. I was starting to question the world more deeply. So I kind of felt like I was shackled to school and I couldn't escape, and it was sinking me. And I know, no kid likes school, but, it's just something that you have to do, and at least you have friends that you get to see. But I was always like, no, I don't have to do it. There's no, like, mystical force that compels me to go to school or something. I'm being made to go to school. Let's be honest here. People are forcing me. And the friends thing, and this might be kind of depressing sounding, but I didn't really give a damn about seeing them. I'd so much rather be by myself than with my friends at school. And then of course my really good friends, I couldn't just only see at school. I could hang out with them on the weekends or during summer or on breaks. So the see your friends reason thing doesn't really hold up with me. And like, how could it? I thought of school as being like a prison. If you were being thrown into prison and someone told you, hey, well, at least your buddy Johnny's in there too, so you'll get to hang out with him. How could you not be like, yeah, but I could just like not go to prison instead. That would be nice. I think prison is a really good comparison to school also. It has walls and fences and guards to keep you in. And your parents get thrown into prison if you don't go to school. So it's kind of like a looming possible imprisonment for them too. But this isn't about my view of the horrible US education system. That's another video entirely. This is about my personal experience with school, and the gist of it is that it fucking sucked. And then all while I was there, it was being hammered into me that after high school, I had to go to college and university for a number of more years, or otherwise, I'd be a failure and that I might as well just kill myself if I don't go. And of course, they didn't tell me the kill yourself part, but that always seemed to be implied. Which, speaking of, I think if I was forced to go to college right after high school, I probably would kill myself. I always say that the only reason I'd commit suicide was if my freedom was taken away from me. Give me liberty or give me death. And yeah, if I was forced to continue going to school and I couldn't leave, I think I'd gladly take that bullet to the brain. But once again, that's a whole other video. But that is a good idea. Suicide is a rather interesting subject. Especially to me. Damn it, Connor, you're getting carried away again. Focus. I guess that's another thing that school failed to teach me. Yeah, anyway. I hated school. So why would I enjoy helping my sister with her homework, or going with her on field trips, or even talking about school if I hated it so much? Well, because the idea of school is awesome. Or rather, learning is awesome. School and the system, those pretty much always blow. But learning is rad. Learning in school was definitely the best part of it. But isn't school all about learning? You might ask. No, hardly. School is about being taught, and taught what to think. That's why if you've been to school in like the last 10 years or so, everything is about tests and homework and structures and curriculum. Everybody has to be equal, everybody has to be on the same page with everything. Everybody's supposed to be a drone. Okay, I'm getting into why the school system sucks again. But it's necessary for me to complete my thought, so go along with me, please. But yeah, learning in school, actually learning, that seems like an afterthought most of the time. So then, hey, you might be thinking, you did get something out of school. You learned some things. True. True. I did learn a few things. But in the time that I had dropped out, once I was allowed to, and had gotten my GED, I started reading and researching things and exploring knowledge outside of school. Way outside, actually. Stuff they'd be scared to teach in classes. I picked up nonfiction around then, when before that, I'd been a very strict fiction reader all of my life. Oh, and also, school was where I read said fiction too, by the way. I read before school, after school, at lunch, during school, like right in the middle of class, because fight the power. But yeah, I didn't stop learning after school. Far from it. I started learning much more and at a much accelerated rate. And I really have the internet to thank for that. Amazing technology. Human ingenuity at its finest. So it is by my estimation that I learned more in just 1 year outside of school than in all 3 of my years in school combined. But there were a few certain doors of knowledge open to me in school, and I do value that. So thank you, school, for giving me the most miserable time of my life, but also for giving me that little bit of knowledge that showed me what was possible outside your oppressing walls.